G'day, Nick from Australian Native Bee. Today we are going to go visit John Klump and I'm very excited to go do this. John wrote the first book on stingless beekeeping in Australia, and it's a very, very good book even to this day because it was written from a point of view of his own knowledge and experiences of things he'd found to do with stingless bees. John was well ahead of his time when he started. He was making heated hives, special concrete hives that were insulated, and he also was one of the first to really work out the eduction system, which he still uses today. John actually named it eduction, so a very exciting interview, and I'll probably have to break it up into 3 videos, so hope you enjoy.
A little hole, that's the way I deal with it. So, and it allows the bees at the back to get out. Now they may have blocked that, I don't know. I'll have to open it again if they had. But that just provides an escape route, safety valve if you like.
So what, from your experience, what happens at that time when you cut it? Or when do you know to cut it? Or you just look in the front one and go,
Yeah, it's a bit of a judgment call because you've got to look at how much brood is in the front and how much stores is in there, how much they've got in the way of stores. And if they look like they're going pretty well and the brood's going pretty well and you can see the queen on there, then I usually cut or drill a little hole right back close to the old hive. Most of the bees going out though will return through the new hive. As you can see what's happening now, the bees are returning through the new hive. They're a bit quiet today because it's so windy, which means the front hive is still powering on, but they're not likely to attack the new queen.
what's on average, what's an induction take?
That's like how long's a piece of string.
Yeah.
The one we just talked about before there, it was only a matter of probably about 3 to 4 weeks before they started to put a bit of brood in there. Others I've had them go through a whole season and not establish, and normally I lose patience then and transfer a bit of brood with a queen cell in.
Okay.
And it depends on the year too. This year hasn't been so good with spontaneous eductions, but in previous years, like last year, last season I should say, they did very well. I got quite a few hives that started on their own. I didn't have to do anything at all with them. And it's also important to pick the hive. All my hives have observation panels, and you look in the top, and and we'll come to one shortly, if the hive is just bursting with bees, they're the ones you want to hook up to. It's more important to have that real great bee population, because I think the bees go through a cycle whereas the queen's egg laying drops off, the production of workers drops off, even though the weight of the hive will remain the same because you're weighing the honey and the pollen and those sort of things. But your bee population will drop, so you need the weight of your hive plus a really strong bee population to have an successful eduction.
Okay. Can we look at a hive that you would say, hey, look, this is ready for an eduction that isn't hooked up?
We'll just have a bit of a look here. I'll have to play this by ear. Well, that one there, if you can get a photo of it, look at the bees in there. They are just jam-packed to the observation panel.
Yeah, okay.
The hive is full to the brim. The bees are right up to the top. There's pollen and honey pots everywhere. That's a hive that's ready to go. If I had a spare empty hive available, I'd hook one up.
There you go. Yeah, it's always a problem, isn't it?
And that's why I've got 2 pickets. So I simply move this hive back to there and put the new empty hive in front. That means your new location for your entrance is pretty well where your old one was, which makes the acceptance of the new box so much easier.
You've got a band strap around there. That's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, it holds them steady the way it's strapped around, yeah.
Well, with lies, I hate telling people that I'm better than I am. I wasn't born with a sense of pride.
Going for years, if you look, there's a little green light in there. That indicates the unit's turned on. And what I've done there is I've wrapped resistance wire around the inner core of the hive before the hive was cast. These tubes go in this tube. The resistance wire is not directly in contact with the foam or in touch with the concrete in the concrete ones. It's actually inside these plastic tubing, and they're actually used for water meter. For sprinkler installations, like little drop things to spray your plants and so forth. Now, because it's set up like this, one has to come in, one has to go out. So then it's coil around the inner core of the hive. The 12 volt power comes in here, and this is 12 volt AC. It's just a garden lighting transformer, a big garden lighting transformer provides the power. The power goes in, it goes through the little thermostat. This is actually the thermostat probe. Inside in that little sealed unit are things called thermistors, which monitor the temperature, and they can turn on. So on a cold night, that will turn on. That goes into the core of the hive. It's in a sealed section, so the bees can't get at it, but it goes right into the core of the hive. And then it will switch the little thermostat on, or the thermostat will switch on or off. It's adjustable by little screws under these things here. The whole thing's sealed so the weather doesn't get at it. And that's been going for maybe 6 years out here in the weather, all weathers.
What temperature will it switch on at?
I can set it to whatever I like. I've set it really to come on when it gets below about 18.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not trying to establish an ideal temperature. I'm just trying to avoid a minimum temperature that might be harmful to them. Now you've got to remember that this was hooked up on the hive. It might have been a hive I rescued, a little tiny hive in winter that I've rescued. Put it out here. This supports them, keeps them warm, stops them freezing. But once the hive's developed, you really don't need the heater then, not in our climate anyway. So what I've started to do more recently is to use these same little thermostats inside of a foam container and place a hive into that foam container with an opening to the outside and just heat that foam container. You can do it very efficiently with 12 volt. You'd only need a very small heating coil to maintain that temperature, at least here in Queensland, up to whatever you like, really up within reason. Sometimes I set it for 20, 22 degrees or something like that. So I've made a number of these thermostats over the years. I got the design for them online, and I've modified them somewhat to suit my requirements. You've got to know a little bit about electronics to make them, but they actually convert the AC to DC current. They regulate it very specifically as to what the voltage is, and then they feed the power to the thermostat, and the thermostat then can control that. Within 2 degrees, 1 to 2 degrees, I can keep that hive at the temperature I've set it at.
Wow. Okay, thank you.